With new, gentler scented Clorox disinfecting wipes, clean finally smells as good as it feels on everything from lamps to ceiling fans, even on your kid's toy shark. Oh, ouch. Clorox disinfecting wipes, now available in crisp lemon. Find it on Amazon. Clorox, clean feels good.
Chronic spontaneous urticaria, or chronic hives with no known cause. It's so unpredictable. It's like playing pinball. Itchy, red bumps start on my arm, then my back. Sometimes my legs. Hives come out of nowhere. And it comes and goes. But I just found out about a treatment option at treatmyhives.com. Take that, chronic hives. Learn more at treatmyhives.com.
Non-binary listeners, ladies and gentlemen, heroes and heroines, crooks and crookians, NF, the audio performance you are about to enjoy discusses casinos and gambling. We do not recommend gambling with money you cannot afford to lose or that is needed to pay bills. If you have a gambling problem, contact your problem gambling hotline. If you do not know how to contact your problem gambling hotline, send an email to help@casinocombat.com. We will find that number for you and provide it to you. Our hosts' past performances are not indicative of anyone's future results, including his own. All materials presented here are based on actual facts. Names and dates are changed to protect the innocent and the guilty. Some events, unrelated outcomes may be omitted in the interest of brevity and clarity. The contents of this episode are the property of Volcanic Dingo LLC. All rights are reserved. It's me, it's TRG, the Ramblin Gambler, just trying to make a living and doing the best I can.
Lyrics, dude. Recite 'em some lyrics.
I can be critical, never typical, intricate with every syllable. Some people think I'm a criminal. Intimate, but never political. Pretty visual. Even if you hate it, I'll make you feel like you're in it, though. You call me whatever you want, but never call me forgettable. Leave you deep in thought. I would never swim in the kiddie pool. Wow, that is such an accurate description. My son loves that song. I'm kind of coming to love that song. Welcome to episode 154 of our Casino Combat podcast. Amazing, amazing, amazing. And if you are thinking, wait, I already listened to episode 154. You did. I tried a thing. It wasn't very good. It made sense to me in the moment. If you listened to it all the way through, I am truly sorry, but you participated in something very, very special. What you heard, which will never again be considered episode 154. What you heard is the lost episode of Casino Combat. I have had T-Rex encrypt it. I have had T-Rex not share with me the encryption key. This is kind of like, what is this like? This is like Song of the South, right? If you had it, if you saw it originally in the theater, if you bought the VHS, you've seen Song of the South. Otherwise, Disney's not going to let you see Song of the South. Or that episode 154 is like the Star Wars Christmas special. If you're not aware, right after Star Wars, the first movie, which we now call The New Hope, episode 4, came out. And was such a huge success, everyone wanted more Star Wars. So one of the networks at the time, one of the broadcast networks, quickly put together a Star Wars Christmas special. Very cheesy, very, very bizarre and weird about Life Day on Chewbacca's home planet and getting him back there. And major comedians and actors at the time were worked into the story. And it was pretty embarrassing. And it went away quick. And for a very long time, the only way you could even see it, if you even knew it existed, was to find somebody with a VHS copy or a Betamax copy that they would let you see. Now, through the glory of the internet, you can find it pretty easily on YouTube and laugh at its absurdity if you would like. Well, that other episode, 154, that I'm going to insist no longer exists, is kind of like that. I admit there is a possibility that Nakatomi Tony has it on a server stored somewhere, and at some point, perhaps we'll have the first ever Casino Combat con or festival, and you can all trade bootleg copies of it. But if you heard episode 154, I apologize. We're going to do, this is episode 154. This is going to be much, much, much better. We are going to eschew our typical format just a little bit today. I have done a new segment called Yin and Yang, which will be explained as we start this segment. And it's fairly long. It ended up being really interesting, a lot of fun. It's the first of several that we're going to do. So we are simply going to have a Yin-Yang segment, which I think you will really enjoy. And then I'll follow up with you in the virtual VIP lounge just real quick to have a couple closing thoughts. All right, everybody, this is going to be a lot of fun. We are going to do a new segment today. First time we've done this, we are going to do a Yin and Yang segment. And here's how this came about, which I think you'll find interesting. I have started doing these cruises with Premier Casino hosting. And in the process, as you all know, I've been on this craps journey. And as I've gotten to know the folks in PCH a little bit, I kept hearing, oh, blackjack is so intimidating, you'll have to teach me. And I've always said, well, how can blackjack, you are the master of 160 plus wagers, and you're intimidated by one wager, right? So I have some craps questions that I've been wanting to ask. And when I had that, you'll have to teach me blackjack conversation a second or a third time, I said, we are complete opposites. We are intimidated by each other's games and knowledgeable in reverse of the games we are intimidated by. And so I thought that would be kind of fun. So with me today, as the yin to my yang, or the yang to my yin, I have Don Wood from Premier Casino hosting, an instructor with Golden Touch Dice back in the day. Don, thank you for your generous time today. I really appreciate it. The listeners are going to appreciate it.
Oh, I love it. TR Janet, yeah, we've spoken a couple of times, and I'm telling you, this is the game that intimidates me. I mean, I get why people are intimidated by craps. You walk up to the table, and the whole table's just covered with bets and, you know, center action and this and that and the other and all the terms that are being thrown around, and the blackjack table seems so simple, but yet it just intimidates the tar out of me. You know, the strategy, the reactions of people at the table, you know, that's, I guess, the understanding we start with is why this gets to me. It's the people, it's the strategy, and the card is complex, you know, the big matrix of a basic strategy card. So I guess that's where I'm starting from. So.
All right. Well, let's have guests go first. We agreed to 2 questions each for this first time around. So why don't you go first? What is your blackjack question that you want to start with?
All right. So what is how do you start this? What's your preferred game? How hard is it to find? Like, what makes a difference between a hand dealt game over a shuffled game? You know, the single, double, 4, 6, 8 deck. You know, like, what's your sweetest table?
Well, my perfect table would be, and this is out there, this is me, this is you liking the repeater bet, right? That you can only find a handful of places on a craps table. My preference is a 3-2 6-deck shoe on a free bet table. Because I give up, and Harris has one in their high limit room on the strip. Flamingo has one on their high limit room on the strip. You give up a little bit of house advantage, but you get huge bankroll buy-in protection on this obscure variation. Huh. I'll come back to the question you ask. The kiss of death to most players on a blackjack table is when you get a pair that should be split. And then the next card means you should double. And the next card means you should split again. And you can have up to 7 additional wagers off of your additional wager. Now, I call that the unicorn hand, and I've never played it, and I've never seen it played. Multiple times I've gotten to 8 hands doubled twice. I've seen 8 hands doubled 3 times. I've never seen 4 hands doubled 4 times. Never seen 8 wagers. Okay. If you win most of those, it's glorious. But if you lose most of those, your buy-in has been wiped out and potentially your bankroll has been damaged. Free bet blackjack, the house makes all the additional wagers on your behalf. So you never have at risk more than the bet you made. To go back to your question, and obscure table rules aside, it is very common in most of North America, other than MGM and Caesars on the Strip, to find a $15 or $25 3-2 game with a 6 or an 8 deck shoe. That is my sweet spot. That is where I would like to land. In an ideal world, which you find sometimes, like Pennsylvania, parts of Atlantic City, we would require the dealer to stand on all 17s. That's a less common table. Usually they hit all soft 17s. That's a little bit to the house's advantage if that happens. I would also love surrender. Don't find that very often. Surrender is when I've seen my 2 cards and the house's up card, I can like do a throat cutting gesture, swipe across the cards from the back, and the house ends my hand and takes half my wager. It's required by code in Pennsylvania. As a result, in competition, some places in Atlantic City offer it. Some of the MGM properties offer it. It's a slight player advantage move. And the easy example is if you have a hard 15 or 16 against a dealer 10 or 11, you sacrifice half your wager. Wow. So a shoe game, beautiful is a shoe game where they stand on all 17s and let me surrender, but easy to find in most of North America, 15 or 25 shoe that pays 3-2. Card counters like single and double deck. I personally don't like the dead time. We shuffle 2 cards or 2 decks, often by hand. Then to make sure I'm not a card counter, not me specifically, but in general, they cut out half the cards. So I'm still only playing 52 cards. And we're not going to get very many hands before we shuffle. The other thing is that double deck blackjack is also often dealt pitch, which is to say the cards are tossed to the player face down. Each player looks at their own cards, plays without revealing their cards, and then the cards are revealed after the house's hand is revealed and played. It's not anything about the mechanics. It's that the camaraderie of the game goes away. When everyone sees everyone's cards, you have a camaraderie around getting good cards, getting bad cards. You know how the card dealt to them impacts their hand. You have discussion. How should I play this? How would you play this? You have the guy at the end who's betting $15 looking at the guy that played first that's got 300 out and going, normally I would do this, but I'll do whatever you want. I don't care about my $15. You get all this group energy because you can see each other's cards. In a pitch game, you can't see each other's cards. But rule-wise, I don't really care. I can beat either. I prefer to beat 6 and 8 if double deck's all that's available. And then here's the interesting thing to me. Sometimes single and double deck are the most expensive game in the building, if they're even offered.
Yeah.
And yet on Royal, single and double are the cheapest game they offer with the worst rules. So even there, different properties, different locations, different brands are going to treat how they position those games differently. I would prefer hand shuffled. Usually that's $100 or better game most places. Shoe is fine. I really don't like continuous shuffle.
Right.
And I don't like continuous shuffle for two reasons. I am of the opinion that some houses manage the discard rack to their advantage. Lots of small cards, they go right back into the shuffler. Lots of big cards, they don't go into the shuffler quite as fast. Sometimes we play 2 or 3 hands. I can't prove they're doing that. I can't prove that they're manipulating it, but that would manipulate the outcomes. The other thing that continuous shuffle does is there is no mental break. There's no moment where the ability to gamble stops and you have a natural, where am I at? What's going on? Take a look. So if I play continuous shuffle, I work the dealer consistently to take the cards out of the rack and put them in the shuffler, to the point of being a bit of a jerk sometimes. And I set a timer on my phone for 18 minutes, about the length of one normal 6 or 8 deck shoe. And I sit out a couple hands and I look at where I'm at. I look at how much I've made or lost. I decide, just as I would with a shoe, do I want to continue at this moment or not? So I force myself into a rhythm break where I'm not just in zombie mode playing because they never have to shuffle. And that's how I manage continuous shuffle if it's my only option. Wow. Perhaps I'm on brand, perhaps a longer answer than you expected.
A heck of a lot to think about. Well, and that's just getting the game started. I mean, that's just where you're going to.
Right, but let's. And I hear it, but at the same time, if we were going to condense all of that, I gave you the what's, whys, where's, thoughts, preferences, led you down the free bet path. If I was going to say, so how do we break that down? As you walk by the table, see if on the felt it says blackjack pays 3-2. Yep. If it doesn't, it probably plays 6-5 and it's on very small print on the sign. Just keep walking. As soon as it says 3-2, if the table minimum is appropriate to the money you want to put at risk, you're good.
Yeah.
I mean, so taken that way, right? Is it 6-5? No. Cool. It's a $25 table. Am I comfortable with a $250 buy-in? If so, if there's an open chair, go ahead and sit down. If it's a shoe game, say to the people around you, do you want me to wait?
Yeah.
Once again, this is similar to bad etiquette to walk up and the puck is on and the dice are moved and I'm going to drop money on the table. Bad etiquette. Blackjack, not so much in resorts areas where tourists coming and going, but in a place with serious players and a serious game that's not just all tourists, not a cruise ship. Cruise ship's all tourists. You just say, are you on a string? Do you want me to wait? And sometimes they'll say, give us a hand or give us 2 hands. Some of them say, thank you, help us, save us. We need your help. We're getting destroyed. Please come in. But that eases you into their game by acknowledging that it is their game at that moment until it becomes our game. So not bad, right? Is it 3-2? Am I comfortable buying in with 10 units at table minimum? And that you'll find yes to those a lot. And that's a perfectly adequate starting place for someone who's just starting. Now, you may over time prefer double deck. You may over time say, I'm only playing if they'll hit soft 17. But those nuances at the end of that are fraction of a percentage of house advantage. From a getting started point of view, 3-2, table limit you're happy with. And you'll find that on Royal, sometimes even as low as 10.
Oh,
you'll always find $15 tables on every Royal ship I've been on with that rule set. And I have sometimes struggled to find one at 25 just to eliminate a little of the riffraff.
Right.
So we're going to play 25 at least, if not more. So we'll play a $15 table, but sometimes for us, if there's a $25 table available, we'll hope that acts as a bit of a filter.
Right. Right. Interesting.
All right. So you ready for a craps question?
Absolutely.
Okay. So when these are things that as I've been playing almost every day.
I wish.
I used to play craps once in a while. I've been playing almost every day to try to really learn the game to some level. And as I've been playing, I've been coming up with these things of, I just need to ask Don. I just need to ask Don. When I play blackjack, everything is scripted in my brain. If A, do B. If B, do C. My goal is to eliminate every emotion except joy. All the greed, all the envy, all the anger, all the desire. I want to eliminate all of that and robotically play the way I plan to play.
Yep.
And then I'm on the craps table. It happened yesterday. Had a nice run yesterday. One of the better runs I've had. Not me personally, but the person shooting. And this happens over and over. My brain says, you've won more than you intended to win. If you went back to your original bets, you would rack another $100. Maybe you should rack that 107 out. Didn't follow my instinct. I didn't follow my instinct because my instinct is to not follow my instinct. My instinct is to be my plan is to be robotic. And it seems like every time I have a thought, and this is anecdotal, but every time I have a thought, he just started fighting with him. They're right beside him. I should turn my bets off. Well, I shouldn't turn my bets off. That isn't the plan. Well, you should turn your bets off. No, I shouldn't. 7. Why didn't I turn my bets off? So I guess the question is craps a game unlike blackjack where I should try to trust my instincts? Or is that just beginner stupidity and anecdotal evidence?
Yeah, you can prove anything if you only look at those results. But I will say I don't do that 95% of the time. There are going to be some instances. I mean, if the dice are off the table, I don't give a flying hoot to get that die back. Just get me dice so I can make my toss. I want rhythm. And people then argue, the cocktail waitress came in. We're in Kansas City in the private gaming room where we have a nice 12-foot craps table versus the 14s out on the floor, and the door unlocks and you hear a click, and then you hear the door open, and then you hear the casino noise, and then you hear the cocktail waitress say, "Anybody need a drink?" Or the floor manager comes in and say, do you have a marker I need to pick up or something like that? And, it's, to me, the head game gets really serious there. Is that you need to put all that stuff out. I don't care. And I was on a hand back. I think it was a Thanksgiving trip we did to Kansas City. We had a table out on the floor, and I'm on roll 50, 51 or something like that. It was my best hand of the weekend. And one of the floor guys comes up. He had just come in, and I threw the dice. I made my bet. Bets were going around the table, so I stepped back and, "Hey Don, how you doing?" I'm like, "Hey man, how's it going?" And I go, "Okay, dice back, focus again." And it was a 7, and I just turn around and I'm like, look what you did to me. And I was only joking. I'm only joking because in reality, I had my focus. It's all on me, but craps players tend to blame everybody but themselves. It's the stick change. It's this, it's that. So I don't care. It's taken me a long time. I mean, I've been doing craps since 14. So I'm 11 years into this, and it's taken me a long time to get the crap between my ears out of there because the head game. And I was just telling a friend of mine today, he was telling me he's down in Cherokee and doing pretty well this weekend. He said, "Oh, I won the ATS." I said, "What else did you do?" He says, "I didn't have any place bets out there. I'm only playing this." And I'm like, "Why?" He goes, because I only wanted the dice back quick. I had the table to myself. I'm just shooting. I'm like, yeah, but if you were hitting eights, you could have had your 8 up to, $1,200 or something like that and been winning a lot more than you did on the ATS. But on the other hand, maybe his bets would have done something different. It's one of the things you said when you were asking your question. I have this thing called the space-time continuum. Maybe you've heard that term before, but I apply it to craps. And, I've walked away from the table and I've come back and we were having an awful session and I come back and the bank is empty and the rails are full. I'm like, wouldn't have happened. There's no way that would have happened because this player's in my spot. That happened. This happened. There's no way that would have happened. So God bless y'all. You got 10 grand in your rack. I'm still happy because there's no way that would have happened. So now, on the other hand, we had one player. I don't think it was a Cruiser-on. I think it was one of the ones right before that when we met. And one of our players who doesn't necessarily have a great head game, kind of turns around, comes back, and says, "Turn my bets off." Everybody at the table turned their bets off. Everybody, including me. And I never turn my bets off. And Michael is down there going, "I'm good." The next throw was a 7.
Oh.
And the whole table's like, "Whoa!" And Michael's going, "Damn it." So I asked him, I said, so why? I said, "I saw what happened in your face. I saw you change." I said, "What happened?" He goes, "Those slot machines over there. I look over there and there is nothing but 7s all over." Every machine in that bank had 7s lit up all over the place. He goes, and it killed me. I'm like, cool. I said, you're one person that I'm going to watch. And when you say something, when you do something, I'm following you. There's no way because the head game, it got to him, and it really did impact his throw. So.
Well, and I'll break the format that I created for just a second.
Question 2 already?
No. Well, we'll do your question 2 in a second. But no, I'm going to pitch a little bit to the people that are listening. One of the big advantages of my affiliation with PCH has been, and I saw it at Sunset Station both times that I've been there recently, is I know something about Eric's shooting, right? Eric and I have been on a craps table 2, 3, 4, 5, a half dozen times in the last 4 months or 5 months. Okay. And everybody's making money. And I'm not making bupkis. And I'm sitting and watching it and I'm going, right, because you placed the numbers like Eric was any random person. Just place Eric's numbers and you'll be fine. And I moved my bets to the idea that you do start to know people. You do start to, as you're saying, going to watch the look on his face. I was on a table with several people I knew, and all of a sudden the movement of the dice was completely wrong for that shooter. And I looked up and he was just glaring at somebody I didn't know.
Oh.
And I'm like, what just happened? Oh, they did this. They did this. I'm playing back in my head. I'm like, he's angry. He gave up. He's not trying. He's just launching the dice to get out of the hand. My bets are off instantly, right? Because I knew him. That is that value of playing with this broad range group of people. And when you see them the second or third time, you do have some of that knowledge, some of that tendencies. So I bloviated.
No,
I rambled.
But I mean, that's huge. And I'll pitch a little here myself. And that is, I believe in dice control, dice influencing, whatever you want to call it. I do believe it's insane. You're not controlling everything about it, because once they're out of your fingers, that's it. But I believe in it. As you said, I was an instructor for GTC. I was a student. I believe in what they teach about throwing. I don't believe in what they teach about betting. For other factors, we are no longer associated. I love the people, most of them anyway. But it is a very real thing, and so there are many factors that go into that. And I was at Horseshoe Hammond one day when I lived in Chicago. I'm out in Colorado now, but I would be at Horseshoe Hammond all the time. I lived north of O'Hare, and I passed Rivers, which was really convenient for me, but I just didn't like playing there for various reasons. The crew there for dice influencers are kind of nasty. I love the tables, but I don't like the crew. But I was at this table, and I'm on like roll 21, 22 in the low 20s there. And this one guy to my left, I'm at stick left. This one guy to my left is just, real late bets. Give me a midnight, nickel midnight. And at one point I'm on like 24, and I've got the dice, I've got them set. And this guy, he throws in a nickel or dime, whatever. And he says, midnight. And God bless her, the box person says, no bet. And I just go, this could be fun. And I just go and I shoot midnight. And I'm just laughing my ass off, right? Trying to stay calm. I'm like, it's all cool. And everyone down here is going, dude, just get your bet in earlier. Don't do that to him. Blah, blah, blah. About 3 rolls later, he starts again. And Horseshoe's it's technically a boat. It's just a big barge. It looks like a real casino. I mean, it's real. But it's a big barge. It's not your typical riverboat. And I pound on the rail, and I said, GD, stop the effing late bets at the top of my lungs. And I look around, and everybody's looking at me. But what that did is it changed my blood pressure. It changed every biorhythmic thing in my body, which means it's like my game's over, right? 2 rolls later, 3 rolls later, I think I threw the 7, and my heart is still beating. My blood pressure's up. I'm breathing heavy, and it's like game over. And so, those things can really change. Now, had somebody noticed that, if you were standing at the table and you saw me do that, bets off would probably be a very good thing to do. So, but that's part of the head game. It's trying to keep that together and understand what's going on at the table. Yeah.
Okay, so let's bridge from this to your next question by helping out the listeners who are primarily not craps players, and then the guy sitting here who's not a craps player, and let's tell them what a midnight is.
Oh, midnight is my partner Michael, but it's also 6-6. It's a 12.
Oh, okay. Thank you. See, education has occurred for not only myself, but everybody listening now knows what a midnight is.
And it should pay 30 to 1, which is awesome, right?
right?
But it should pay 36 to 1 based
Right,
on
of course.
odds.
No.
House edge is high on that one.
Yes. All right. So this your second question.
All right. I don't know if this is simple or what. Where do you prefer to sit? So you're walking up to a game and maybe it just opened, people are going to show up to it. So like you said before, you see an empty seat and you sit down. But do you prefer to sit at first base, sixth base, or somewhere else in the game? Because I can see disadvantage and I can see advantages because cards are out on the table. And I know it counts on some games. Does it count to you in blackjack?
And now here's where, let me give you two answers.
Okay.
5 years ago, I'm gonna work really hard, search really hard to sit last.
Okay.
To play last, to take whatever control of the game I can take by sitting last. And if I can't, my second choice is to sit first, which is to play my cards before stupid happens. That is definitely where I was 6 years ago after 28 plus years of doing this. I always wanted to sit last, and if I couldn't sit last, I would sit first. And if I couldn't, it would have to be New Year's Eve or Super Bowl on the Las Vegas Strip, and I'd put up with it, and I'd pout. Over the journey that has been this podcast, it's that stuff between your head. And that's what's the same, right? And that is what has served me well, I think, at the craps table, is I just pick two dice and throw them. I'm not bouncing them. I'm not interpreting them. I'm not doing chicken bones and figuring out which dice. I don't care if they go off the table. I play so much blackjack that I have learned I am going to do everything possible hundreds of times a month. Any combination, 10-6 against a dealer's queen, regardless of where I'm sitting, I'm going to do that hundreds and hundreds of times. And the math is going to match the math because of the number of repetitions. I have managed, and I will pat myself on the back a little bit, and I'm going a little bit sideways from your question, but 5-6 years ago, I had to have my spot, and I would be a bit aggressively angry over poor play, or in my mind, angry by poor play. And I have realized I found a zen. Hey, yin and yang. I found a zen. I found a little internal mental self-control. I've realized where I sit is irrelevant other than physical conditions. And let's come back to that. Position is irrelevant other than physical conditions, and what other people do is irrelevant. I play enough hands a week now that for every chucklehead that doesn't hit his 16 and ruins my hand, there's another chucklehead who doesn't hit his 16 and my hand is perfect because of it. And maybe it's mellowing with age, like good bourbon. But I have managed to get past worrying about where I sit, and I managed to get past worrying about what other people do and worrying about what other people say what I do. And that is not easy. And I'm not trying to suggest that that is easy or a beginner skill. It's not. I often talk within the podcast that, there's within my podcast, there is first grade through middle school. And you can win with a middle school level of skills, which would include some seat selection and some anger issues. You can win with a middle school level of skills. And then there is, or maybe middle school through high school. And then there is a college degree, and you can do fine. And then there is that PhD level stuff, that little nuance, those little tweaks, those little extra things, those recognizing your internals. Not everyone has to do everything to have some success. I had a lot of success and won a lot of money with a very, very simple wagering approach developed on a once a year Vegas trip. And it's very beginner stuff. And it included a lot of those rage issues, and it included a lot of that insisting I have to sit in this spot. I've evolved to the point where I don't realize. But the other driver now for me, and maybe this is age, is physical comfort. They rearranged the tables at my local casino. They got in one extra shoot to win craps table on the end of the pit.
Oh.
The spacing between every blackjack table lost 5 inches.
Oh.
They couldn't do anything else because otherwise they'd had to reposition the cameras, and they can't afford to reposition all the cameras. So if you sit first or third on most of the tables, the back of your chair is right against the back of the chair on the table next to you. And if both of you are gentlemen above a certain size, you are constantly slamming into each other the entire time you play. And the middle 2 tables happen to be right under air vents. And if the air conditioning is on, they're blowing cold air right down the back of your shirt. Put me in the middle.
Yeah.
Put me in the middle with the back of my chair to the aisle where there are just people walking, where no one's going to constantly shift their weight and slam into the back of my chair. And I'm not going to have, those are way more important to me. My physical comfort, the lack of distraction and annoyance while playing are way more important to me than when my cards come out. Blackjack is about my 2 cards and the dealer's up card and my probability of success. And most importantly, how I react to the outcome of that with my next wager. Everything else is largely irrelevant. Where I sit doesn't matter. I need to play my 2 cards and the dealer's card to minimize the house's advantage. And I need to react with a plan to a win or a loss. Those are the only things that matter. The rest is repetition when you leave the game. So, great question. An incredibly great beginner question. And think about where we've come through this, right? You know what kind of table you're looking for, and it's not hard to find. And you, if you trust me, know that where you sit doesn't matter. So we have covered in a wonderful fashion, and take whatever follow-ups you want from this in terms of asking follow-ups, but we have covered some of those beginner things very admirably, right?
Got one for a later session, I think, out of that. So
okay, good. I have 2 more for the next session.
One.
Yes, no, that's fine. I have 2 more for the next session, without a doubt. So here, and this is, I'll be as brief as possible, but a bit detailed. I created what I call the core concepts of gambling. And my core concepts of gambling are how I know how to beat low house advantage games. And I believe that I need to react to a loss or a series of losses with a wager increase. You could say I'm chasing. I could say I'm managing within my bankroll. And I need to react to a win or a series of wins with an increase in my wager. And so I've been playing craps in compliance with those two thoughts. So as briefly as I can, I like to place on a $10 or $15 table, which I can still find. I like to place the 6 and the 8 after the point is established for $30 each. And if I hit on either, I drop to table minimum. I now have on a $10 table a small profit, and on a $15 table, I'm minus $1. Now, I can start reacting to wins by increasing my wager, either by going tall, up on the 6 or the 8, a unit, or by going wide and adding a wager on the 9 or the 5, or with your expert guidance, placing a 4, buying a 4 or a 10. Likewise, if I get picked off with the $30 weight, I got 60 out, 30 and 30, and I get picked off without catching anything, now I'm going to respond to that loss with an increased wager, and I'm going to do that by going 110 inside. Responded to the loss of 60 with a larger wager, and if I catch any two numbers, then I can go down to table minimum on the 6 or the 8, and then I can start, once again, if I win, going out. It all works. With random shooters and all that, it all works. But a buy-in of 300, a win of 60 or 70 is, I should be leaving. I'm not, like, I can sit down with that same 300 and often generate $200 to $500 playing blackjack. I feel like I must just be doing something wrong, because I am the way I make, you know how I make money on craps? I make money on craps when I hit an all tall small or a fire bet on somebody. Then I win money on craps. But I'm fine. Like, playing locally, I'll play for a little while. I'll hang out with my buddy Gabriel. I'll have a bourbon. I get to the point where I'm up 60, 70, 80 bucks, and I go, okay, well, that's pretty good. I'll bet an $18 8 the next time, and if it hits, I'll add an $18 6, and I'll hang out. See, is there something inherently flawed in what I'm doing?
What? I mean, that yeah, no.
Really? If I am, you can tell them. They'll listen to the fact that I'm wrong.
No, well, again, going back to, like you're saying, on blackjack, it depends on your bankroll. And when I started in this, I was a $200 buy-in person, and it was a $10 table I had to play at. And I kind of learned to play from a friend of mine. Two friends of mine got me into craps, and I'd gone on a family vacation with him. Both of our sons were close enough in age, and we went down to Branson and stuff, and then we had gone up to one of the casinos there in this Kansas City area. I think it was so long ago, and I was very interested in watching him play. And basically, he did a pass line 6-8. And he always got comped. He got our rooms comped, and I didn't put $1 anywhere in that casino, and he was able to get our rooms comped, and that's kind of where I started and where I played an electronic game, doing his strategy, and that. And then I had another friend I worked out. Actually, it was a project I had out here in the Denver area way back when, and looked at the way he played. And it was kind of similar. And so, if there's just someone says, hey, how do I get into this game? It's you bet the bets that are as close to the results of a 7 you can get. And that obviously is the 6-8. It has the lowest house edge of a place at 1.51%. It's where you start, and so
Okay.
you can start building at that. And when I have a thing that when we teach betting on the cruise ships, because Royal lets us actually teach at their tables, which is kind of fun. Um, we, I go through. I have my spreadsheet of where I started and where I am today and how I do things. And I'm a 160 across player right now, and I'm playing with some stuff right now on my table. It's always nice to have a table at home because you can practice this stuff with your role on your table, which is never going to perfectly match the craps table you're going to be playing on. But I have a two-sided table where I've got hard and bouncy, and I can play with some stuff. But I adjust constantly. I say, what if? What if? We just had a session in Kansas City, and we have a private game, and it was about. I've been with these folks twice with the basic set of folks and the way they play, and it really does matter how you're doing. Like yours is a bit of a regression. And I've got a couple of friends who play big numbers and then do a serious regression. And we're talking about a quarter table. So it's some decent money there. Whereas I really don't regress. I am a, always pushing forward. I may do a same bet, if I'm up and I'm saying, okay, maybe we're getting a little tired, maybe something's going to happen, I may do that. If I hit a point and I hit a couple of come out, I've done a regression back to my base bets at times, but it's rare. And Michael and I have had this conversation, and we have this conversation when we do classes about what do you think about this, and some people, very few, are out there with the 5 count. And what the argument is if most players, there's this some 57% number that says, if you put a quarter in your pocket, 7% of the time, you actually made that quarter versus you could have made a lot more on a hand. But the argument is that if you do the 5 count and say there's 3 6s and 8s or something hit, you're already progressing, and it's not the first 5 rolls that you missed out on. It's those last 5. I'm not missing out on a $30 6. I'm missing out on a hit on a $600 6, or maybe more, maybe less, but maybe more. It's those hands. And there's that balance with how you're doing it to where, say an average roll because of come out 7s, it's obviously 1 in 6 on a random shooter. That's going to be a 7, but there's come out 7s, so that average could go up to 8 point something. So if you get past that, you should be ahead in money, and I'm usually ahead by my 7th or 8th roll. I've got money in the rail, and I'm in good shape. I'm playing on. Some people hate this term, house money, but I'm on house money. I am. My outlay is back in my rack, and that's what matters to me. And that it's house money to me. It doesn't mean it's not my money. It means I'm out of the hand. So we use that term. We're out of the hand. Did you get out of the hand? Yes or no? And so it's finding that balance. It's the people you play with, it's your hand, how you play on Randy's versus how you play on yourself. Big difference in that. So going back to your real question is it depends. I don't want you to go back to your feelings on that, but if you're shooting and you're confident, or you're watching, Joe shoot versus Mike shoot, Mike's having a rough day, but Joe's having a great day, I'm probably going to be a little more aggressive on him based on that. We've had some great times. Private tables can be unbelievable, and they can, you can take a bashing at them too. How is everybody doing? Can I get my head in the game, every time, or am I just, mucking about even when I have the dice? That's not a good thing. Don't bet on me if I'm doing that, because I want to have my head in the game. Some people I think this kind of goes back to your first question and a little bit about this question, is some people don't like to be talked to at the table. And some people is like, I need to be talked to at the table. Michael and I whisper in each other's ears, and it's trying to get us to focus. But after we shoot the die and I make my, my bets and stuff, I can turn around and have a conversation with somebody, and I'm okay as long as I can get back in there. And I want to hear, my handle is hard 9. It's a 5-4. I want to hear 2 dice, because I want to picture those dice going down the table. I want, and it's not necessarily controlling things in that way that I truly expect the 5-4 to land, but it's getting everything else out of my head. And so I love to be talked to about that. If you want to talk to me at the table, call out 2 dice, get everybody together and say 4-4, let's go. And what it does is help that mental focus. And if you see somebody not having that, regress your bets down a little bit if you got money in the rail and stuff. So I'd say it depends on the situation. I don't do it often, but I may make adjustments. I may, if they're really hitting crazy, I'll just, double, triple pump my numbers, press at 60, press at 90, whatever. I think one last thing, we were in Kansas City one time, and I'm talking, Michael's throwing, and he's just beating the tar out of the 8. And I had my 8 up to 900, and all of a sudden something in his throw changed, and he was throwing 6s instead. And I go to the guy next to me, I'm like, I think I should put my 900. I should swap those bets, because I'm only at 150 or 210 on the 6, and I'm at 900 and he's hitting. He's done something different. His throw is different. His grip is slightly different. He's still hitting numbers, but he's hitting different numbers. And I should check. Oh no, he's going to hit one. Never hit it again. That's like, I knew it. I knew I should have done that. So, if your thought is within reason, do it. But
okay, all right. So I often steal from professional wrestling, borrow, mimic from professional wrestling. So I'm going to give you the last word, but I'm going to mimic The Rock here. And if I was The Rock, I would now say, so if people want to get a hold of you and Premier Casino Hosting, how should they? And then I would say, it doesn't matter what you say. If you want to get a hold of Premier Casino Hosting, if you'd like us to do something to help you, I need you to email trg@casinocombat.com, spell combat with a K, and I will get with Don or with Michael or with Eric, and we will get set up whatever you would like to have us get set up. And if for some reason you can't get with me, you're welcome to get with them. That's always an option. They have been wonderful teammates. What else do you want to promote, Don? I know you were telling me a little bit about NCL this week. What other important stuff's going on that you want to talk about?
Oh, we've got some cool stuff. We got cruises up the wazoo. We've got a couple of side-by-sides, a back-to-back. Of course, you have the card, the Blackjack cruise out of New York. That's going to be awesome. Unfortunately, I'm going to be on a side-by-side on my honeymoon ship, Freedom of the Seas, and then going over to my first Virgin cruise. So we've got a couple like that. We've actually got one in April. We've got a casino networking conferences, which is for the independent reps, but we can bring clients on that. So I'm doing a Royal 3-night and then this NCL 4-night on their new ship, the Aqua, that's coming out. And then one of the big ones is that the New Year's cruise, we have on NCL an offer that goes through the first quarter where we don't have to pay admin fees. It's real weird. NCL charges us admin fees, but we have a New Year's Eve or New Year's cruise going out on 12/28 out of NOLA. So, I mean, what better place to start it from? That, we've got a couple of casinos down there as well. So we're going to be out in the Caribbean for New Year's this year. So that's a really cool one that we'd have to get booked fairly quickly, like this week, to get away from those admin fees. But some other stuff going on in Vegas. We love doing the station casinos. I think you guys were just out at whichever one that starts
Sunset
with a P.
Station. Yep.
Oh, Sunset was the one. Yeah.
Yep.
I was out there in December at Sunset, so that was real fun. We got Palace Station, the GVR, the Red Rock, the Rango. We've got all the Caesars places. If you're out in Colorado, please reach out to me and I'll meet you in Blackhawk.
There we go. Well, and I know you said, unfortunately, you're not going to be on the cruise that we're doing out of Port Liberty, but I would say, how cool is that? How cool is it that Premier Casino Hosting is large enough that they can have groups going on multiple ships from multiple places, from multiple ports, and serve a variety of people in a variety of places? It's pretty neat. It is pretty neat to look at that list of options and look at those lists of choices. And it literally is, oh, do I want to go with TRG out of this port? Do I want to go with Don out of this port? I can take my choice. I can do a little more of this. I can do a little more of that. Those are great things. They really are. And from the listener's point of view, there's a lot of gratitude on what Premier Casino Hosting has made available to the listener base, and a lot of appreciation there, and a lot of appreciation to you for doing this. I think this was good. I think we're probably going to have taught a lot of people a lot of stuff. So thank you very much.
Well, likewise, I think we're having a ball here. Love doing it. It comes out of our conversations of my experiences at the blackjack table, especially on a transatlantic I was doing where we had a $6 blackjack game and I was getting yelled at by a guy standing by the slot machines when he wasn't even in the game. So,
jeez.
That's where our stuff comes from. So this is a blast.
Well, now
really.
we will just leave that as a teaser. Come back next time that there is a Yin-Yang segment, and we will hear the $6 blackjack story in details. Next up, everybody, whatever I said in the show open was the next segment. It's the next segment.
A little bit of the bubbly.
Welcome to the most must-listen to segment in casino podcasting, the Virtual VIP Lounge. Our lounge is open, and we have the best virtual everything virtually all the time. The best virtual food and drink served in any virtual VIP lounge anywhere on the interwebs, guaranteed or your money back. As always, if you can, press pause, pour yourself something, fix a plate. I truly do love VIP lounges when I am in casinos. If you are pouring yourself an adult beverage to enjoy with me at this moment, I would suggest you pour a shot because this is going to be really quick. That segment was a lot of fun, and I love the idea that Don has mapped out 7 questions. So or 7 segments that he has questions he wants to ask. It really was like Don and I sitting around having some drinks. We were doing it virtually. It was VIPs because we are both VIPs. We had a great time. I truly appreciate him taking the time to do that. I learned some stuff even about blackjack in the process of teaching. I certainly learned some stuff about craps. I'm looking forward to doing more of these and seeing the game of blackjack through his eyes, through the questions that he asks. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that was a lot of fun. I hope that you feel like you came out of it and something was learned. Please tip your waitresses, tip your bartenders, tip your dealers. If you have a host, tip your host. Don't tip away your wins. I have spoken. Everything you heard here is true from a certain point of view. In 10 years, we might find out I was wrong about all of this. It's time for leaving, and I hope you understand I was born a rambling man. Love it, hate it, it don't matter. Please share with your family and friends. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for listening. Thank you so much for the gift of your time. The best part of the podcast is next, the Casino Combat Blues.
Hi, I'm here to pick up my son Milo. There's no Milo here.
Who picked up my son from school?
Streaming only on Peacock.
I'm gonna need the name of everyone that could have a connection.
You don't understand. It was just the 5 of us.
So this was all planned.
What are you gonna do? I will do whatever it takes to get my son back.
I honestly didn't see this coming. These nice people killing each other.
All Her Fault, a new series streaming now only on Peacock.
This episode is brought to you by Greenlight. Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/Spotify. Greenlight.com/Spotify.
For Atlantic City Empress, Casino Combat's ace. There are profits in the casino tonight, I can feel it in my bones. I had a premonition, you should probably play alone. I know the house has that advantage, but that's part of the thrill. If we follow the core concepts, the chips begin to spill. So baby, here's your player's card, put your bankroll in your hand. Use just some of that money now, do it just the way we planned. Just follow the core concepts and you could win several grand. Well, it's good if it goes down like that, don't have to play to lose. It's gambling as a business, the Casino Combat Blues. Casino Combat Blues. The dealers and the pit bosses, the security and the law, the winning and the losing and the tricks nobody saw. No matter if it's blackjack, roulette or craps, you gotta carry defense cause you always carry cash. There's lots of shady characters, lots of dirty deals. Everybody has an alias cause that's more fun we feel. It's the lure of winning money, it's got a very strong appeal. Perhaps you'd understand it better standing in my shoes. It's the ultimate enticement, it's the Casino Combat Blues. Casino Combat Blues. Whoa. You don't see it in the headlines, you don't hear it every day. No one's trying to stop us and we don't need to go away. We can gamble in Atlantic City, we can gamble in LA, we can gamble out in Vegas. I mean, we're here to stay. Gambling's propping up the budgets of folks like me and you. You ask any casino manager, he'll say there's nothing he can do. From the pockets of the casino, right down to me and you. Me and you. It's a winning proposition and one you shouldn't refuse. It's just the core concepts, the Casino Combat Blues. Casino Combat Blues.
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contracts. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.